thing I know about life. I know some things happen by chance. And some things happen because we make them happen.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jesse Swift from the FanSplash podcast, and I am down in Portland today because I started a new job and I got some training to do here, so please excuse the hotel format. Today we're going to be talking about episode 2 of season 3 of The Flash, and now that we are past the season premiere, I just want to have a big disclaimer here and say full spoilers moving forward. So I'm going to talk to you as if you have watched this episode as well, and then we're going to discuss it a little bit. This episode was titled Paradox, and one more time, spoilers. So if you have not seen it, please exit the room, or if you just don't care, then stick around. But let's get into it. So in the last episode, we saw Barry witness the aftermath of his decision to go back in time and save his mom and his dad, and everything that changed. Nothing was as he knew it to be. Cisco was not the man that he knew. Caitlin wasn't the scientist that he knew. Everything was changed, and he wasn't even the Flash anymore. And then he had this new villain, Rival, and we weren't really sure what Rival's origins were, but anyways, he was able to defeat Rival, but ultimately, when he realized that all his memories started going away, the more he used the Speed Force, he listened to Reverse Flash, and he had to let Reverse Flash go back in time and kill his mom again. And, man, this show, watching Barry see his mom die like 3 different times, this show's really hard on the heart. And then he got back to the timeline that he knew, or so he thought. He's like, okay, good, everything's normal again. And then he goes and starts trying to talk to Joe, and they say that Joe and Iris don't talk anymore. And you're like, okay, what happened? So obviously there's his original timeline, there's the one he really screwed up, and then this one's like almost exactly the same, but with like very emotional, intimate differences. One of them being, Joe and Iris don't talk. Cisco doesn't talk to Barry because Barry, in his timeline, refused to go back in time and save Dante, his brother. And there's a lot of drama in this show, but the drama in this show really works for me, and it's almost taken, I love the special effects, I love all the Flash moments, but just the chemistry between the characters and their stories has almost become what I've looked forward to more in this show, which is something I think on a lot of other networks with higher budgets maybe you wouldn't get. But because it's a CW, it's about relationships, it's about feelings, and you don't think that's what you want from your superhero show because so many shows have done it incorrectly, and I think this show completely nails it. But anyways, let's get more into this episode. There's a couple times, and I say this every time I review the show, that the show really gets you right in the feels, tugs on your heartstrings. There's moments with Cisco and Barry just trying his damnedest to make everything the way it was. There's also a great moment where he goes back in time, or he tries going back in time because he's like, okay, now I'm going to fix this, I'm going to try again. And Jay Garrick pulls him out of the timeline and says, hey man, you can't, I'm a speedster. I've done these things. I've tried this. It doesn't work. You have to live with the choices that you make. And I think that's a really important speech for Barry to hear, because moving forward, a lot of people ask, okay, Flash, can change the timeline. He can go back in time. Why doesn't he use that every single episode? How does he have any real villain challenge or consequences if he can just go back in time and change things? So it was very important for Jay to give him this speech and saying, you can't get a do-over every time you make a mistake. You have to live with those mistakes. I think that's also important for the show, because now we're not going to ask, why didn't he just go back in time and fix that? So I think that was very well done. It was important, and it was nice to have Jay Garrick, or, visually as we know him, Henry Allen, Flash's father, to give him this speech. I'm really excited to see where this is going forward. We got a hint of maybe the villain of the season, we were introduced to Dr. Alchemy, and what he did is he knows something about timelines. He knew that Barry made another timeline, and he found the guy that was the rival and gave him his power and his costume back to fight the Flash. Now, we don't know anything about Dr. Alchemy, but he seems to kind of be the big bad. He's going to be behind a lot of things to come in this season. He said that he is preparing the world, so who knows what that means. And then we got to see that Cisco is he's pretty much Vibe when he wants to be. He's got a good handle on his abilities, and he's got the goggles and everything. He just doesn't look like he has a costume, or he just chose not to wear it. I like seeing that. And at the end of the episode, we got a nice little tease where Barry's talking to Caitlin. He's like, well, the great thing is, or the good thing, I guess, is that of everybody, I think that, nothing changed with you, which is nice. The timeline's been exactly, the way I knew it to be. And he leaves the room. She takes her hand. She's staring at it almost in horror as that icy mist drops from it. So it took a few timelines bouncing around to get it, but I think now we're going to get Killer Frost in this story, which I'm pretty excited for. And I want to know what's going on with the Dr. Alchemy character. What's coming? What's going to be the villain of the week this season? Last season it was Earth 2 villains. The first season it was just metahuman fallout from the particle accelerator. So very curious to see what Alchemy brings to the season. Anyways, guys, hopefully you're watching the show. If you're not, I don't know why you're here, but you should be watching the show. And can't wait for episode 3 next week, titled, I believe it's called Magenta. I have to go watch the trailer for it. But anyways, guys, have a great day. May the Speed Force be with you.